Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for another PB virtual panel. Today, I'm very pleased to be joined by Jimmy here, who's going to be talking us through some of the industry changes around Wi-Fi and what that means for us. Jimmy's representing Aruba Instant On product today. So the first half of today's session is going to be talking about wireless in general and some trends that are happening in the market at the moment. And then the latter half of the session today is going to be a demonstration of the Instant On product. So Aruba, as we all know, is a part of the HP family, and have got two different wireless products and networking products in the market. One is Aruba Enterprise product, and the other one is Aruba Instant On, which is the SMB product. So the first part of the session is going to be covered by some evolutions in Wi-Fi standards. Then we're going to be moving through Wi-Fi 6 versus Wi-Fi 6E and the implications that means for us here in New Zealand and the industry overall. Then we're going to go through the differences between Aruba Enterprise and Instant On, and then we'll go through a demonstration later on through the Instant On product and what that looks like for you and how you could potentially use that in an SMB business environment. So without further ado, Jimmy, would you like to just introduce yourself firstly and tell us how amazing you are and what your experiences are in this area?
Thank you, Rodney. Hi, my name is Jimmy. I'm the Aruba network engineer. I've been in the networking industry for over 20 years. And yeah, so today, like Rodney says, I'm representing Aruba to talk you through about the Aruba Instant On, which is a very exciting portfolio that Aruba has introduced about 3 years ago. So yeah, so I'm just going to go through it today with you on this one.
Excellent.
Cool. So I'm going to start with this slide here. So, all right, hold on a second. Okay, so so this slide here is just talking through about the evolution of the Wi-Fi standard, right? So for most of you who has been in the industry long enough would remember probably the inception of Wi-Fi around 1999. The 802.11b standard, or what we call now is Wi-Fi 1, was released. It was released on the 2.4 gigahertz radio. So with the speed only at 11 megabit per second. So you imagine nowadays running anything on 11 megabit per second, you'll be waiting forever to transfer data. But back then it was probably the best thing back in the day. And since 2.4 gigahertz radio is used by lots of other devices, like microwave oven, cordless phone, baby monitor, etc. So even some of the wireless surveillance camera also use 2.4 gigahertz. There are lots of interferences within this radio spectrum, you see. And in 2.4 gigahertz radio also, there are only 3 free available channels. So as you can imagine, having 3 free available channels, channel 1, channel 6, and 11, this means that if you have more than 3 access points that you want to install within the area, you need to make sure that the overlapping channels among those AP are not within the same channel. Otherwise, they're going to cause some massive RF interferences. So later that year, they released another standard, 802.11a, or what we call now Wi-Fi 2, that operates in 5 gigahertz radio. So this has around 12 non-overlapping channels versus 3 of the 2.4. That you can use, and the 11A can have a speed of up to 54 megabit per second, so it's also faster. But again, the problem with Wi-Fi 1 and Wi-Fi 2, because they both are operating on the different hardware. So if you want to install a 2.4 gig wireless, then you need to have a 2.4 gig hardware. And if you want to have a 5 gig wireless, then you gotta have a 5 gig hardware, meaning that your access point can only support 5 gig. And then also all your devices must have a 5 gigahertz wireless card in them, which is not ideal, you see. And then later on in 2003, then they released the 802.11g, which is the Wi-Fi 3. Okay, and with the speed improvement to 54 megabit per second, but again, it can only operate in 2.4 gigahertz radio. So it's still not ideal, you see. So we still have the same issue of channel interferences and noise from other devices, right? So this issue, I guess, were mitigated when they released the 11N. 11N standard, or what we call now Wi-Fi 4, as this new standard can operate in both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, or what we call dual band. Also the Wi-Fi 4 come with better modulation and channel bonding, and it can reach a combined speed of up to around 600 megabit per second. So it is a massive leap from 54 megabit per second to 600 megabit per second. So again, with 802.11ac, which is Wi-Fi 5, I think a lot of you probably still using this technology now, because we are still pumping a lot of this device on Wi-Fi 5 as well. They introduced a new feature, what they call multi-user MIMO. Okay, so multi-user MIMO, it allows the access point to transmit data to multiple devices at the same time. So this improved the efficiency of the wireless communication and also increased the speed tremendously as well. Okay, so with the Wi-Fi 5, it can, but again, Wi-Fi 5 can only operate in 5 gigahertz radio. So if you have an older device that operates in 2.4 gigahertz, the wireless AP will scale you to the previous Wi-Fi 4 standard there to operate that particular device.
Does that mean that your access point is then working slowly for all of your new devices as well?
Yes, that's right, Ronnie. So because remember, wireless is a one-way highway. You see, so if you have a slower device in front of you, then all this faster device that requires to transmit will have to wait for that slower device to transmit first. Okay, so it is really not ideal. With the 802.11ax, or what we call now Wi-Fi 6, there are many improvements to the standard. So Wi-Fi 6 is probably the most widely used standard now at present, because Wi-Fi 6 has better wireless modulation that improve the efficiency and speed for the wireless transmission. And also it operates in both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz at the same time. So it's kind of like having a 2-lane highway now. So the 5 gigahertz device don't need to wait for the 2.4 gigahertz device. So it's a lot faster. Okay. And the standard also provides more available channel to use as well, which reduce channel interferences that we had issued previously, and allows you to also bond the channel together. So it's kind of like bonding two highway together to make it a wider lane. That will create wider channels, so you can have a much faster wireless transmission.
Jimmy,
yeah.
What's modulation?
Modulation is the way wireless packet being transmitted into the network. So the better the modulation, the faster the package to get there. So it's, I guess, probably a more efficient way to transmit data or packets from your client devices to the access point. Okay, so, and I think the analogy that I really like to use is like, if you want to send a parcel, how fast is it for the courier van to come to pick up that parcel to deliver it to the depot? Okay, so that's what modulation is.
If you're running your business and you have purchased your Wi-Fi, 3 years ago, and it's going okay, and you don't get many complaints, and it's secure, is there any reason you'd upgrade to Wi-Fi 6 until it breaks and it's so old and crappy? Is there any compelling reason to, if everything's going okay, to actually go to Wi-Fi 6, or is it just to wait until it's broken and then upgrade to the new one?
No, definitely not. Actually, that's a very good point. Wi-Fi 6 is you have to remember, because all the wireless vendors now are focusing on Wi-Fi 5, Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6E, and then even now Wi-Fi 7 just looming around the corner, right? So you imagine this: if you're a vendor and you're already focusing on all these new products, would you still release updates, security updates, and everything else for your previous products? Probably not, right? So you probably can't even upgrade your firmware anymore. And then all this have risks of security issue, right? So now even with the current security with WPA2, it can already be hacked already, right? So now that's why the industry moving to the wireless security WPA3. So as you can imagine, if you have an older device, like you say, even though it runs smoothly, but there's a lot of security risks that probably you want to start thinking about. If you can't upgrade the firmware of those old devices, so you probably would want to upgrade to to the later models. Cool. Okay, so moving on to my next slide here. So this slide here is actually from the Ministry of Business Innovation and Employment. So you can actually get this particular slide. You can download them from the website, from the public website. So this is just showing you on what available channel is allowed to be used in New Zealand. Okay, so as you can see there on the 20 megahertz, this is for Wi-Fi. This is for Wi-Fi 6, by the way. Okay, so we have 25 available channel in the Wi-Fi 5, but 3 of them. So as you can see, the one with the crosses, these are actually reserved for things like radar, and then like for weather, for weather radar, or for military as well. So we can't use some of this channel here. So from 25, you take 3 away, so we only have 22 available channel. But it's still much better.
Is that the red ones that are reserved, or the ones with the little blue crosses on them?
So the red one is more the military, but then the blue crosses here is for weather radar. Okay, but still we can't use them. Yeah, so they're not available for us to use. Okay, so we can only use all this channel here. That are available. Yeah. Okay.
Why would you use 20 megahertz, 40, 80, or 100?
Yeah.
Why would you do that when you're designing your network?
So when you design your network, so you probably would the faster, sorry, the wider the channel. So if you have 40 megahertz channel, meaning that you're actually combining 2 20 megahertz channel together. So you bond them together. So the wider the channel, the faster you can transmit more data. So just like my analogy earlier, it's like having more highways in your, having more lanes in your highway. So again, imagine if you combine 2 40 megahertz together, you got 80 megahertz. Again, you got a wider lane again. So meaning that there's a lot more wireless packets that can go through that particular lane at the same time. Okay. But
why wouldn't you just have all 100s or 160s, whatever? The top one. What's the benefit to even having 20? Does it go further or something?
If you see that, right, on the 160 megahertz, we only have 1 free channel, you see. So it's not ideal. So meaning that if you have even just 5 access points in your office and they're all operating on the same channel 50, then you wouldn't want that because there's going to be interferences, right? So that's why it's not ideal. And again, if you go to 80 megahertz, then you can see you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 free channels that you can use. So you have to be mindful on how you design your network. If you don't have that many AP, if you only have, say, 5 AP in your area, in your office that you want to install, then maybe having 80 megahertz to maximize it as much as possible, maybe it's not a bad idea. But then you're probably safer to go down to 40, right? So probably 40 is the one that's mostly probably widely used now at the moment. 20 is a little bit slow, so you probably want to set your network with 40 megahertz.
Well, Brendan had a question there. What channel has got the longest range? Does range come into it at all, or just interference?
No, with range, there's more on the transmission of the antenna, the strength of the antenna. So there's nothing to do with the channel. Channel is just there for you. It's just for availability for what channel to use. But if you want to have a longer range, then you need to have a stronger antenna. On our enterprise range, you can actually tune your antenna to be on how strong you want it to be. You can go up to as fast as 30 dBm, for example. That's probably the maximum that's allowable for you to use. But unfortunately, on the Instant On, it's automatically set, so you can't actually tune that manually. All right, so moving on. So this one here is pretty much the same as the previous slide, but I want to show you the benefit of the Wi-Fi 6E, you see. So the Wi-Fi 6E, as you can see here at the bottom, Wi-Fi 6E operates in the 6 gigahertz radio. So the 6 gigahertz radio is free of interferences. That's because there's no devices that's actually operating in 6 gigahertz. So pretty much it's like, if you, again, the analogy that I use, if you have like a brand new highway traffic, there's no traffic going through at the moment, and you can use exclusively for you to get from one place to the other, and that will be the Wi-Fi 6E, because it can operate in the 6 gigahertz. You can see, right? So on the 20 megahertz, you had 59 free channels over 25 on the 5 gigahertz. Again, there's so much more. There's almost double the capacity there, right? So more than doubles actually. And the beauty about it is, like in the previous slide where Rodney asked, why don't we just change everything to 160 megahertz? Now you probably can. Now you see on the Wi-Fi 6E, because now you got 7 free channel on the 160 megahertz. So we give you a lot more available channel to operate your network faster. So yeah, so that's one of the biggest benefits of the Wi-Fi 6E. But then again, on the next slide, this is probably give you the comparison on if you're already using Wi-Fi 6 now, why you want to use Wi-Fi 6E. First of all, the speed is 4 times faster on the Wi-Fi 6E. As you probably see on the previous 2 slides, on when it shows you the speed of between the standards. So Wi-Fi 6E is 4 times faster than the Wi-Fi 6, and Wi-Fi 6E also, but Wi-Fi 6E only operates in the 6 gigahertz band, you see. But doesn't mean that if you buy the Wi-Fi 6E access point, you can operate your Wi-Fi 6 devices or Wi-Fi 5 devices. You can. It's still backward compatible. But what I'm saying is, if you want to utilize Wi-Fi 6E, you must only operate within the 6 gigahertz band.
So if you buy a Wi-Fi 6E access point,
mm-hmm.
and you've got, like I have at home, some crappy old light that's 10 years old and works off 2.4 gigahertz,
yeah.
Does that mean that I've just wasted all my money and I shouldn't, that my Wi-Fi 6E access point is going to be scaled back to crappy slow speed because of my old device?
No, because Wi-Fi 6E also operates in 2.4, 5 gigahertz and 6 gigahertz all at the same time. Okay, so it's actually like a tri-band, right? So if you have all the devices, then it will go into the 2.4 gigahertz band. But then once you start buying upgrading your devices, you upgrade you buy the latest iPhone 15, for example, and the latest iPad that support Wi-Fi 6E, then some of those devices will operate on the Wi-Fi 6E. Right, but then if none of your devices support Wi-Fi 6E or even Wi-Fi 6, then yeah, so you basically will be operating on that on the slower band. But it's just future-proofing yourself. When you upgrade your device to the newer device, then it will be supported.
What how many laptops these days have got Wi-Fi 6E compatibility? Not many yet.
No, it's quite interesting actually. If you actually Google Wi-Fi 6E clients, you'll be surprised. They're starting to have more and more now, because it is getting popular now, right? Because of the benefit of the 6 gigahertz band. Because like I say, Wi-Fi 7 is just looming around the corner, so it's going to be released probably in 2024. And Wi-Fi 7, as you can see, the Wi-Fi 7 will operate even in the massive bigger scale of the available channel. So and then it'd be so much faster again. Then yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know what's in it yet, but then I've just been told that it's going to be much faster, even than the Wi-Fi 6E. Okay, but then yeah, just Google it. The Wi-Fi 6E client. There's already it's a growing list now. It's more and more. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. So Aruba Instant On versus Aruba Enterprise. So I have asked a lot of questions from customers, right? So I mean, why am I buying Instant On over Aruba Enterprise? So this slide here will give you a good idea on where the Instant On fit in, right? So for example, how to position the Instant On products. You see here, right? So we're really focusing Instant On for the small business, like small offices, for Soho, and then for independent hospitality and retail, smaller retail shops. So from my point of view, New Zealand is the perfect fit for Aruba Instant On, because there's so many small businesses in New Zealand, right? So probably 90% of our business in New Zealand are SMB. Okay, so our SMB in New Zealand is very different than SMB in Australia or even in America. In America, 200, 300 seat company is called SMB, where we are here, they call enterprise, right? So it's very different. So Instant On is really perfect for that market. So we want to target less than 100 users, where the Aruba Enterprise is more than 100 users, and it will scale to as many as you can think of. Okay. So in terms of the management modes, Aruba Instant On, you can only manage your wireless AP, or you can only configure the wireless AP via the mobile app. Okay, so you can install the mobile app on your iOS or on your Android device, or you can also manage them via the web portal from your laptop as well. But for the switches, you can manage them both ways. You can have a local management directly to the switch, or you can also manage them via the app as well. Of course, the app don't have all the features that is available via the GUI, or if you log in directly onto the switch, but it gives you enough control, I guess, for what you need to do for an SMB type of business. But again, with the Aruba Enterprise, we have Aruba Central Cloud Portal that you can use to manage. Again, it will scale from one AP all the way to thousands of AP. Okay, and it gives you that flexibility as well with the Aruba Enterprise. With the Aruba Instant On, unfortunately, you can only manage those wireless devices just using the app. So in terms of IT support, our target market is, again, for Aruba Instant On is for little or no IT staff, because it's so easy for you to configure, which I'm going to show you later on in the demo. You don't even need to have an IT staff. You can have everything. You can control everything from the app, from the palm of your hand, right? With the Aruba Enterprise, again, you probably want to operate Aruba Central. You will probably need to have a little bit of IT knowledge, or an IT specialist to be able to drive the Aruba Central. In terms of upgradability, so Aruba Instant On, remember, you can only manage up to 50 devices. Okay, so if you have more than 50 devices, then you need to create what we call site. So we need to create a different site. Then you can have more than another 50 devices. What I mean by site is, so for example, if you have 3 branches in Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch, and then you set up those area as Auckland as one site, Wellington as second site, and Christchurch as a third site, which means that each one of those sites, you can manage up to 50 devices per site. Okay.
Does that mean that you can say you wanted to put the same SSID with the same settings on all 3 of your sites? Does that mean you'd need to do it 3 different times because the management is limited to 50 per site?
Correct.
So, okay. So you can't just go, I want this SSID across all 150 of my access points. You'd have to do it 3 different times.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Which you can do on the Aruba Enterprise. Aruba Enterprise, that's exactly what you can do.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So you can have 1,000 sites, it doesn't matter. You only need to have one configuration, which we call group, and you can just push those groups to all the access point, and then it will just configure them automatically. So again, as you can see, the scale is very different, right? So we are limited to 50 devices per site for Instant On. For enterprise device, there's no limit.
Okay, and just for clarification, when you say devices, we're talking about switches and access points. We're not talking about end user devices, because of course you can have as many as you fit in your buildings here. Gotcha.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks, Rodney, for pointing that out. Yeah, that's correct. So 50 devices is a combination of access point and switches. So for example, if you have 40 access point, you have 10 switches, that makes up your 50. And just however you want to mix and match the combination, right? In terms of Wi-Fi standards, so currently on the Instant On, we support Wi-Fi 5 and Wi-Fi 6, but we have Wi-Fi 6E on the card. This is coming probably around Q1 next year. So we're going to have a product that will support Wi-Fi 6E on the Instant On range. Again, on the Aruba Enterprise, we already have Wi-Fi 6E models available already. Breadth of portfolio, currently on the currently on the Aruba Instant On, we only have 6 indoor models for the AP and 1 outdoor AP. For the access point on the Enterprise, we have, I think actually we have 40 plus now, not 30 plus. So we have 40 plus models in the Aruba Enterprise. So we have pretty much access point for any requirement that you have under the Enterprise series, right? I forgot to mention switches on this. And then on switches, we have quite a good range on the Aruba Instant On in terms of your switching. Okay. Some of the key points that I like to mention for Aruba Instant On is we provide secure, simple, reliable, and affordable solution. Okay. And again, I'll show you later on in the demo, and I'll show you what I mean by simple and reliable and secure as well, and affordable, of course. That will be mentioned on the next slide. But
just before we go to the next slide, Jimmy, is there any ongoing costs for licensing for Instant On? Or actually, tell us about Enterprise as well, because I believe there is for Enterprise. But
yeah, that's right. Yeah, so for Instant On products is you can get the product ready out of the box. You can use the product ready out of the box, right? So what I mean by that is, say you purchase a wireless access point. When you open the box, there's a QR code that comes on the box. Then you scan that using your mobile phone, and then it will take you to your App Store or to your Google App Store. Then you download the Aruba Instant On app, and then all you need to do is you need to register. Just put in your email address and your password. Then they authenticate you. Then you need to go to your email and authenticate that, and you're pretty much ready to go straight away. Then it will ask you to onboard your product and so on. But that app is free for you to use as long as you use them, right? So there's no ongoing charge. There's no hidden cost whatsoever, and that's the beauty of the Aruba Instant On. There's no hidden cost. We're not going to say, okay, after 1 year then you're going to start paying subscription. None of that, because the app is free for you to use forever. With the Aruba Enterprise, it's different. You buy an access point, then you can use the product right out of the box without having to onboard them onto the cloud. You can console onto the AP, and you can go via the GUI of the AP to configure the products, and then you can also onboard them onto the cloud, Aruba Central later on, and there's a subscription cost on that, and the subscription cost is usually charged yearly. Okay, so that's the difference. Aruba Instant On, there's no charge. Aruba Enterprise, there is a subscription charge if you want to manage them via the cloud. In terms of warranty, Aruba Instant On, we provide 2-year warranty for the wireless products and limited lifetime warranty for the switches. And I believe that we are probably the only vendor within this price range that offer a 2-year warranty. I think most of our competitors only provide 1-year warranty. Okay, so we provide 2-year warranty, and you can also purchase an extended warranty as well if you want, up to 5 years. And that extended warranty will give you 24/7 call tech support. So if you have any issue configuring your devices, if you have any question whatsoever, you can ask from the most basic question, how do I turn on my access point, all the way on how do I configure certain things, right? So I highly recommend you buy the extra support. But if you are tech savvy, you know how to operate devices without requiring that, then you probably just go with the standard warranty. With our Aruba Enterprise, everything comes with the limited lifetime warranty. Okay.
Excellent.
Moving on to the next slide.
The next slide you've got is the big one.
Yes, so this one here is a good comparison, right? So as you see the one at the top there, so those are the list of products under the Enterprise, and then the one at the bottom is the equivalent solution under the Instant On. So as you can see with the Enterprise, you have a switch, you have an AP, and then with the mounting brackets, and also with Aruba Central subscription included as well. Like I mentioned, Aruba Central subscription, you need to pay the yearly cost, yearly subscription cost on those. So there's cost associated to that. So it charged per AP. So you got 15 AP, then you gotta buy 15 licenses per AP. So yeah, there's a lot more cost within the Enterprise. As you can see with the Instant On, you have a switch, you have an AP, and then I put the support there. The support's not even mandatory, you see. The support is optional, right? So you don't actually need to buy the support if you feel you don't need the support. And again, there's no cost for the subscription. There's no cost for the mounting bracket because everything is included within the product itself.
So this quote here is an example of two switches and 15 access points and one site. So that's the kind of cost you're looking at for your Wi-Fi solution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can see the cost difference there, right? So one is close to 15,000 and the other one is close to 9,000. So there's about $6,000 delta in between the two quotes. So you can see the cost saving that you have with the Aruba Instant On immediately.
Very good. Now we're just going to pause here. The next part of the session is going to be a demonstration of what the app looks like for Aruba Instant On. So for those of you that want to stay on for that, we would encourage you to do so. Have a look through the app. Jimmy's going to run through a few situations that you'd use that for an SMB or a business in New Zealand. The other thing that's worth mentioning is if you are a customer that wants to interface your Wi-Fi with things like your security platform. So say you were hacked and you want to take a feed from your security and block a user, or you want to have decent, lots of granular reporting around what's happening on your access points. Say you want to be able to block particular sites from a particular user and have really granular user control. Those are the kinds of things that would lead you towards Aruba Enterprise, not Aruba Instant On.